police didn't take anything but postal war savings stamps.
You mean the defense stamps that people are buying now that Steve stole? How much of it did he get away with?
Well, he got away with about $36 worth.
$36 worth. Well, that'll almost buy 2 baby bonds. What did you think about buying a defense bond for a thief?
Well, naturally, I'm in accord with this defense program, and I'm willing to buy as a bond, even the recipient had to be a thief.
Well, that's very, very kind of you, Tom, and I sure thank you for coming up here tonight. On the front pages of Sunday Chronicles, some of you read an interesting article containing some news that were released by Fred Thompson, a Houston letter carrier. Since it concerned national defense, I've asked Fred to come up here tonight and discuss it further. For some of the people who didn't read the paper, Fred, what was this article about?
They were brought up before the organization and passed in view of the fact that in the past war, national defense stamps were sold by letter carriers, and we thought that it would be no more than right for us to do our bit at this time. And we feel that if we can render that service to the public, we will be doing a lot.
By service, what do you mean?
By taking the orders for the stamps and then bringing the stamps later.
You mean that instead of a person having to go to a lot of trouble and get down to the post office to buy a defense stamp, you will be kind enough to take their order for them, purchase the stamps, and bring them back to you?
I presume, Joe, that would be the idea. Pass it with the understanding that a copy be sent to the Postmaster General and the Secretary of Treasury, and also to the Postmaster. So it will be up to them to devise some ways of getting the stamps out to the public.
Well, that's very, very kind of the carriers. I know I work out at a substation where people, it seems like, walk for miles to get a look at a defense stamp, and they seem to enjoy very much to keep a book with these stamps in them, and I imagine they would appreciate it very much if the carriers bought them around. Suppose they'd like to help. Could they write letters or something?
I presume they could. In fact, I'm positive they could. That would help to get the ball started, and as far as I know, the idea has originated only here in Houston so far. I haven't heard of it being mentioned or even guessed at any other town in the state.
Well, that's very fine. I'm glad you originated. Fred, you're president of the National Association of Letter Carriers, so being that you're a letter carrier and interested in helping people, suppose we give them a few hints on how to keep their mail delivered to them correctly. What happens to a letter when a person moves away and leaves no forwarding address?
Well, in the first place, Joe, it goes to the dead letter office, but in getting my title there, you dubbed me there as president of the National Association of Letter Carriers. I'm just local president. We have about 200 members here, and I'm one of the small big shops here. But in regard to the forwarding of the mail, why, we are always glad to forward the mail if we get a change of address. I don't know of any carrier who makes a special effort or gets any special pleasure out of returning any piece of mail.
You know, at most all the stations, every day somebody calls up and says, that carrier didn't pick up my mail that I left in the mailbox this morning. How come? What is the regulation on picking up mail out of a mailbox that people leave it in on their porch?
Carrier can save quite a few steps in time, and that is where the department gets the break, because if you had to make all stops all the time, it would mean that we'd have to have more carriers and additional routes.
Fred, I asked another carrier to come up here tonight and tell us an interesting story, but it seemed that he couldn't come up here, so maybe you can help me tell it. This carrier was E.D. Slay, and odd as it may seem, this carrier was cited for contempt of court for delivering mail in court while it was in session, and he had his cap on. Is it really true that a Houston judge cited a clerk for contempt of court in this particular case?
Yes, sir, Joe, he did.
What was the fine?
Well, the fine in the first place was remitted, but the carrier substitute, he hadn't been in the service very long, was greatly embarrassed when he was told that in coming into the court he must remove his cap, or in the first place he was asked if he didn't know that it was unlawful for him to enter the court with his cap on, and the sub said no, he didn't. Well, he says, you sit down there. And he says it'll cost you $25 for coming into the court with your cap on.
And
the young man was so dumbfounded he sat there and didn't know what to think or say, and His cap, of course, was still on his head. He had both hands full of mail, the bag full of mail on his shoulders, and the judge turned around after a bit and said, I'm going to fine you $25 for each minute you leave your cap on. And, of course, the sub lost no time in removing his cap.
I guess he did. Well, Fred, we've come to the end of this presentation, so I want to thank you for coming up. To you who participate in the program, I say thank you. If you who listen like this quarter hour, won't you drop us a card? Or perhaps you know of an interesting story that you'd like to share with us. We believe we can answer any question for you or locate your favorite tale. This is Joe Samuels, whose only real commercial is, I'll mail a letter to a fellow in camp. Good night.
This program, originating in Houston, came to you through the courtesy of the National Federation of Post Office Clerks. Tom Jacobs speaking. Listen again for Oddities in the Mail and the creed of the courier: neither snow nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed round. This is